This time I'm going to present. Okay, so we're going to be covering this beautiful device here, our Préime. Does anybody have this device already in their practice? Yay! All right, but a lot of you don't, so that makes me excited because I can share something new with you guys, something really exciting. So the Préime is it's a facial device. And it's one of those products, if you guys have heard me on my webinars, you guys hear me speak a lot about staples within a practice. I talk about microdermabrasion being a staple within a practice. Why? Because if the skin is not prepped, then you are going to really be missing out on something where you can have even better results with your IPL, with your laser technology, with your radiofrequency. So prepping the skin is really important. Or the DermaFuse, which again is in the silent auction, so if you don't have one yet, I highly recommend bidding on that. But it also is a staple within a practice because it's just boosting your results. We're not going to go through a full PowerPoint on it, but if you guys want to have a demo treatment, we have all of our devices here and we can absolutely do that for you. And that's what the breaks are for. Sure, to use the restroom, but we also want you guys to get treatments too. But this is another one that is a staple within a practice. And at the very end, I think it will all come together when I start to talk about memberships. I have a little bit about memberships at the end of this PowerPoint, and making sure that you are not missing a huge audience, which is your, not even millennials anymore, it's is it Gen Z? Gen X? All of them, Gen X, Gen Z, anybody younger than myself. Why? Because they are so invested now, right? Social media, they know that there's so much that they can do to their skin and they're starting younger. 20 years ago, when you said at 25, I just got Botox, people are like, why? They didn't understand. It's a preventative thing. So is a facial device. It's one of those things that it's preventative, it's something that maintains results beautifully, and it's something that your younger clientele, that's usually the first thing that they start to look into. Hydrofacial, right? Like just doing that gentle exfoliation, hydration to their skin, and starting out a little bit like slower, I guess I should say, before they get into the more aggressive things like lasers and fractionated RF, all the other things that we do. So everything that the Préime can treat. Is our clicker not? Oh, I just can't. That's weird. Okay, anyways, I can see it on the screen. I just can't see it on my computer for some reason. Okay, everything that it can treat. So acne, large pores, pigmentation, dehydration, texture irregularities, and aging. So it does a lot. And the reason for this is that it comes with 5 technologies. Now, you don't have to do all 5 technologies on a patient. You can do 1, you can do 2, you could do all 5, but that's the beauty of this device, is that it is customizable to your patient. If you have a patient that comes in who's maybe older or dry skin, you don't want to go in and really aggressively exfoliate their skin, right? So those steps would be skipped. Or on the other hand, someone that has really bad acne-prone skin, really oily, doesn't do well in Dallas when it's super humid. This is something that I need before I come to Dallas to present. Why? Because I need something that helps control my oil. So there's ways that you can really go in there and aggressively exfoliate, or ways that you can absolutely not and skip that for patients that need it to be skipped. So these are the 5 technologies. I have better slides coming up though for breaking them down. So first I want to talk about, and tomorrow's my favorite talk. Maybe some of you guys have already heard it before, but I did a combination of 2 of my past talks. Why combine, how to combine technologies, and then sinker, sagger, wrinkler, the 3 types of aging. What is your patient? So those are in combination with one another tomorrow. So I go into this in more detail of aging of the skin, or aging in general, I should say. It's not just our skin, right? There's a lot of components. I may not have deep wrinkles on my face, but you can look at me and know I am not 20 years old. Why? It's other factors. I have a lot of fat loss at 42, right? My muscles are not as toned and tight at 42. I also have a little bit of bone loss too. So there's a lot of things that contribute to aging, and that's why we can't just use one thing to fix somebody, right? If someone, and I'll talk about this tomorrow a lot, if someone's a sinker, they have a lot of fat volume loss, they're sunken in their temple area and their lower face, you just can't get around but to do a fat transfer or to do filler, right? To replace that volume. So there's again, it's not just energy-based devices. It's not just Botox. It's not just filler. It's not just threads. It's really a combination of everything to give them the best result as they age with you, right? They're probably not going to do it all at once. They're in their 30s going to start doing some things, in their 40s starting to add on more, in their 50s adding on more and more and more, and you want them to grow with you. So why is it important to look at this slide and that what these 5 technologies do? It means we're targeting every layer of the skin with a facial device. We are able to do hydrodermabrasion, which I'm going to go through in just a minute. We're exfoliating the dead skin cell layers, so really you're prepping the skin before everything else that you're going to do. We're able to do microdermabrasion. I'll talk about that as well. We're able to support hydration in the dermis. That's so important. Glycosaminoglycans are so important to have in our skin. Why? Because it gives our skin turgidity. What is turgidity? When we don't water a houseplant, what happens? When we give it water, what happens? That's what glycosaminoglycans do to our skin. It makes our skin full. It's hydrating. It makes it plump. So those are almost just as important as fibroblast cells. What do fibroblast cells do? They stimulate collagen. Therefore, we're thickening the dermis. We're tightening the skin. They're just as important. And then supporting the muscle tone. Again, as we age, so do our muscles, so do our bones, so does our fat, so does our melanocytes. Every single thing starts to go a little haywire as we age. Okay, so our first technology is AquaB. AquaB does a deep cleansing, exfoliation, hydration, and nourishment. So my next slide, I actually have the solutions that we use. So this uses vacuum and then different solutions. These different solutions, I won't fully go through the list of ingredients, but these solutions have the ability of, sorry, I didn't open up the full slide, have the ability of cleansing, and I don't mean cleansing like soap and water when you wash your face at night. I mean a deep cleansing because it uses lactic acid. What does lactic acid do? It loosens the bonds between the skin cells. So it softens the skin cells, therefore we're able to get a good exfoliation to the skin. It has panthenol, which is vitamin B5. This moisturizes and softens. When we think of cleansing, we don't want to think we just want to strip the skin. No. Yes, it's exfoliating. It's making sure that we're loosening the dead skin cells, but we also want a hydrating component to it as well. I keep forgetting to open up the slide, guys. I'm sorry. I don't have it in front of me. I don't know what's going on here, so I apologize. Then our second step is using salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is going to be a bit more aggressive in terms of exfoliation. It's going to really get in there. Do you know we have 15 to 30 dead skin cell layers? That's a lot. And I mean, it's for a reason. We need a protective barrier, right? Protect us from the sun and infections and bacteria, so on and so forth. But when we have a lot of dead skin cell layers building up, then what happens? We look dull. Our skin looks dry. We have textural problems. We just don't look really healthy. So it is really important to have exfoliation, a really good, more aggressive one once a month, and weekly at home. Exfoliation is so important, and it also keeps our skin cell turnover faster, because as we age, our skin cells, the turnover of them, they slow down. they slow down, they slow down. So this speeds it up, speeds it up, speeds it up. So we have that beautiful glowing skin. It also has vitamin E. You guys know what vitamin E is probably. It's for healing, right? So we have ingredients that are antioxidants that are fighting against environmental stress. That's really one of the biggest components of aging skin. 90-something% is from the sun, but a lot of it is from environmental factors. So it has that, that protection against that, therefore anti-aging. It also has vitamin B3, which locks in moisture, again, making sure that we're well hydrated. Why is this important? When we use these other technologies like radiofrequency after we've done Aqua B, we want to make sure that yes, we're exfoliating, we're removing the oil, we're controlling the oil, but we're also putting nourishment back into the skin for hydration and moisture. Why? What is radiofrequency attracted to? What are we always saying for our patients to do to get the best result? Exactly. Water, 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 water. So we need the skin to be hydrated. We don't want it to be dry because when you're doing everything else, then the response is going to be that much better. So we're really covering all of our bases there. Step 4 is just to rinse the system, get it ready for the next patient. Okay, Vibrox. Vibrox is how we're able to get a really good, deep exfoliation. I'm really hoping that most of you guys can experience one of these treatments today. So it is using a pod. I'll open it and see if you guys can see it from up here. But it's using a pod that becomes more and more abrasive as you go. So when we start around the eyes because we don't want it to be really abrasive there, right? And then we move to like the forehead and then to the areas of the cheek that can really handle and need more exfoliation. You can make this as abrasive as you want. You can go for quite a long time if someone has really bad acne scarred, oily skin, or you can do it for 3 to 4 minutes just for a light exfoliation. But what's really fun about this is it creates a Bohr effect, which means it allows hemoglobin to release oxygen in the area. So we're oxygenating the tissue at the same time. When we create microcirculation, what do? We bring oxygen, we bring nutrients, therefore we are making the skin really, really healthy. So they're walking out really healthy even with these first 2 hand pieces. But another great thing is there's 2 different gels that we can use with the tip. So it's the gel and the pod together that create the Bohr effect. And you can visually see it. You can see all the microbubbles developing on the skin. We have a bright serum, which has ingredients like alpha-arbutin. That's a melanin inhibitor, a tyrosinase inhibitor. It inhibits the enzyme that produces pigment. That's the enzyme that tells melanocytes, hey, produce more pigment. And we're like, let's calm it down. So that's what it's doing. Because this system is gentle, because it's a facial system, we can safely use this on patients with melasma. We can just do it for overall sun-damaged skin, but it is a great solution for your melasma clients. And then we have another that's called Fresh that has just really healing, antioxidant, moisturizing benefits. So that's just, think of like overall anti-aging gel. So one for pigment, one for anti-aging. If they don't need exfoliation, we have a massage tip. So you can add that in as just kind of a nice, relaxing massage throughout their treatment because the handpiece vibrates. So it vibrates and that's what's creating all of the oxygenated bubbles on the skin. Okay, Micro T. So now we're going deep. So now we've really prepped the skin. We've prepped it, we've moisturized it, we've exfoliated it deeply. Now we're going in with Micro T, and it's a microcurrent at 400 hertz. And it's going in just to stimulate and tone the muscles. And again, our muscles are aging too, so we need this. And where we're taking it is at the jawline, around the cheekbones, above the eyes, and they feel it. It's kind of funny. You have like a little twitch, but that's what we need, right? We need to get in there and stimulate them to really, it dramatically helps the contours of the face. So now as you're listening to this, think about people that have events coming up, right? Think of people that have a first date. Think of people that have a wedding. This is that device because we're doing it all for them and they're walking out with no downtime. They actually look better when they're walking out than they did walking in. Their skin is glowing and it's beautiful. Then we have Collagen Plus, which is radio frequency. You guys probably all know a lot about radio frequency, but what are we doing? We're stimulating fibroblast cells. And those fibroblast cells in the dermis will start to secrete collagen fibers, and it's called neocollagenesis, where we break down old collagen that's doing us absolutely no good, and we're replacing it with new collagen. Therefore, we're getting thicker skin, but also tighter skin. And we're doing it the same temperature, 39 to 42 degrees, probably what you're used to using with your more aggressive technology like the V-Series. Okay, and then we finish it all, and again, all 5 don't need to be used. They can pick and choose, and I have a membership example coming up. But if you're doing all 5, it would end with Ultra B, which is ultrasound. And it's ultrasound at 1 megahertz high frequency that stimulates heat in the tissue. And it's very relaxing. It's just nice and warm. It's that perfect finish to this facial experience. And with that heat, we are able to push the serums, the ingredients, deep down into the tissue and lock everything in. So after we've done all of that, then they're walking out with antioxidants, with hydration, with nourishment, with healing and vitamins and all of that locked deep into their dermis. That's what the ultrasound does. So it just overall helps, you know, that healthy skin appearance and making sure that the results are not just for a day or two, that they're long lasting, because that ultrasound is so good at driving those ingredients really deep where they need to be. When you think about hydrofacial, so sorry if you guys already have one, but when you think about hydrofacial, we're never really infusing deep into the dermis. It's like the Aqua B. The Aqua B is staying on the surface. It's an epidermis treatment. So with the ultrasound, this has the ability of driving everything deep. If you also have the DermaFuse, great. Boost it with a DermaFuse at the very end. It's unlimited what you can do. So speaking on that, I'll come back to that. Speaking on that, remembering, we want to make sure with anything we're doing, even outside of the Préime, with everything that we're doing, that we're always thinking of the skin, the face, the body as a whole, right? We're thinking about the muscle. We're thinking about fat loss. We're thinking about what the skin is doing. And all the cells in the skin, our melanocytes, our fibroblasts, our elastin, our keratinocytes, and what they do to our aging. That's really important to know to be able to really give them that combination approach that they're needing. And again, I'll go into that in a lot more detail tomorrow during that talk. But what I was talking about with, you know, like prepping the skin. So if you guys already have V-Series technology, now you can kind of think of the combinations that you can do with prepping and nourishing the skin and then going in with radio frequency for skin tightening. When you're doing maybe IPL treatments and then you can go in with your ultrasound after. It is really important to have something like this, especially if you don't have a microdermabrasion, to have something that preps the skin, that boosts the skin after, or also thinking about your younger clientele, or making sure that you have the ability of maintaining somebody's results. This is something where they can absolutely come in monthly to maintain the results of everything else that you've done to them, right? Maybe they've gone through the more aggressive stuff. Maybe they've done the ablative RF and laser treatments. And now, okay, they're done with that. They went through their healing and their downtime. Now they just want to maintain. So I put together an example of like what a membership could look like for the Préime. So if you already own the Préime, we can email it to you so you guys have it. It's just an idea. Of course, you guys can think of other things too. But again, because this is such an amazing monthly treatment, because you don't run the risk of over-treating. It's something that will attract your younger clientele. And for younger clientele, not always, sometimes they have a lot of money, but I would say the larger percent do not, right? They're maybe right out of school, they're buying their first home, they're just starting their family, they're in college, and they don't have a ton of funds to spend. So when they come into you asking for something and you say, sure, I have it, the package is $3,000. And they're like, oh my gosh, never mind, I can't do this. Well, okay, we have another solution. Can you afford $130 a month? Yeah, that's easy. Great. It's an easy way of just really making sure that you're not losing them as a client. And this goes for everything you guys offer. This goes for your V-Series too. It's making sure that you're not losing a client and making it affordable and accessible to everyone. So for an example, a silver is that they can pick two. Each month they come in, they can pick two of the technologies. If they have a big event coming up and they want to do all of them, great, you have that option as well. So that's at the bottom, your add-ons. So if you want to add on additional hand pieces, it'll be this much money for that month, so it's not crazy, right? And then gold is picking 3 from the list, platinum is picking 4 from the list, and again, each of these can do an add-on. But I think it's really, really nice to bump your revenue for your younger clientele. And I know Audrey Neff from Patient Now is going to speak on this highly. So I think you'll get a lot out of what she's saying and why memberships are so important to attract a lot of people. I would keep talking about this, but I know my time's probably up. So that is it for Préime. And again.